Come on in, older kids. Have a seat right here, young man. How do you know your parents love you?
I don't know. It shows that they care, which means to me, like, if you care, you love them.
They kiss us, and like when I cry, my dad wipes tastes my tears.
They might harass me and ask me about everything, but I think that's how they show their love, by literally asking me.
By harassing you?
I think so. Harass me, how was your day, Quinn? What'd you do today? Any
That's
great...
not harassing.
Oh my God,
That's being interested. That's being interested.
The nerve of it.
That might have been the wrong word. Have you ever gotten a gift that you didn't like, but you had to pretend like you did?
Several times in my Lego collection, I've got the same things.
Did you ever get something you didn't really like?
Underwear.
But yet, underwear? You got underwear as a present? I'll tell you what, that gift stinks. If you wanted something that you didn't think you were going to be able to get, who would you ask first, your mom or your dad?
My mom.
Why?
Because sometimes she's a little tiny bit nicer than.
What makes your dad mad?
Sometimes when I poop in my pants.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty frustrating. What is your favorite thing about your dad?
Hugging him.
Oh, this was supposed to be a comedy.
So let's recap what we've said so far. As a parent, one of the most important things you can do is learn how to redefine your parenting at every phase. What's a phase? A time frame in a kid's life when you can leverage distinctive opportunities to influence their future. It's a window of time when you can influence them. It's what you do over those times, phase after phase, that helps your kids have a better future. You know what you're doing when you show up consistently and invest in their life the right way? You're making history. You're giving them a relational and emotional history that sets them up for the right kind of future. Let's think about it another way. Most kids don't know what you're doing this week is going to be a formative part of their history. They're just kids. They only see now. To them, this week, you just built a sandcastle. You took them to swim lessons. You played basketball in the driveway. You saw a movie. You ate pizza. But you're an adult. You see yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So you should know better. You should realize by being present in a kid's life week after week in a variety of different ways, you are actually making history. The problem is you can't always see the results. The best thing you can do is choose to keep investing in what you can't see, to keep being present for what doesn't seem to be happening, to keep trusting that over time, that time will do what it's designed to do. For example, a kid doesn't experience worth because he's loved once, but because he's loved by someone over time. Kids don't understand the world through a single event, but through a collection of stories over time. Teenagers are not motivated to change by one phrase, but by words that move them over time. Kids don't feel like they belong because of one invitation to something, but because they have been welcomed in a tribe over time. And teenagers don't suddenly feel significant one day. They feel significant when they learn to do something significant over time. No one discovers how to live in a moment. They figure out how to have joy and engage in life over time. So when it comes to your role as a parent, there are a set of very critical things that your kid needs from you over time. The good news is you're probably already doing them. We just want to identify them so you can become more intentional about what you're doing week after week. None of these things are that impactful without the investment of time. But when you do them over time, they have incredible potential to influence a kid's future. The first and maybe most important thing you can give a kid over time is love. When you love them consistently, when you show up in their life week after week to demonstrate to them that they are a priority to you, it does something amazing. Love over time is the best way to give a child a sense of worth. Kids need to learn to love themselves while they're kids. If kids don't feel loved when they're young, they may never love themselves in a healthy way. And love is like investing. It gains shares. The sooner you start paying in, the greater the return will be later. The longer you wait, the less you earn. Simply put, deposits in someone's life as a child will earn more interest. When you wait until they're adults, the gains are just slower. So begin as early as possible to give kids a sense of worth. And here's another word. Here's another concept that you need to understand, that you need to give a kid over time. Words. You see, words over time are very critical as well. And we all have a tendency to understand the weight of our words, but research has actually shown in order to think a thought, paint a picture, work a math problem, you need words. Every time you speak to your child, you're reinforcing or expanding their vocabulary. You're giving them words that will shape how they see the world, how they see themselves, and how they think about God. Your words will help them imagine, understand the things they can't see so they can keep moving in a positive direction. So think about what you say over time as you parent through each phase. Say it so someone knows they matter, because a few words can have a lasting influence. They can impact the direction of someone's life. Kids also need something else. It's something that we're all pretty familiar with, but we probably don't understand the impact that it really makes. Kids need stories over time. You know why? Because stories over time actually hand them a history that helps them navigate their future. Without personal and family stories, kids miss out on having the kind of relational history that fuels a healthy perspective about their identity. Without fictional and cultural stories, kids could miss out on what they need to stretch their imaginations, develop values and empathy for the people in the world around them. Stories over time expand a child's imagination in a way that could shape his or her perspective. The stories you tell matter. You're inviting kids and teenagers into a bigger narrative, one where they have been designed to play a significant role. The stories we watch and read remind us of the struggle between good and evil, the existence of a supernatural and miraculous power, the potential to be personally restored and transformed. It's stories that will give your kids history, that will transform your son or daughter's perspective. Stories can make life fuller, faith deeper, and hope stronger. And here's another one that's so important that sometimes we probably don't realize its importance. As a matter of fact, it's more important than you think it is. You know what it is? It's fun over time. The truth is, you may need to laugh a little more, dance a little longer, play a little harder. Experts will say that giving your kids the right kind of play history is critical to their emotional and relational intelligence. Don't make the mistake of thinking that fun is a waste of time, because what fun can do over time gives a kid a sense of connection. Think about it. It may be that before your kids can feel loved, they may need a little evidence that you actually like them. And they'll probably never be sure you like them until you start having fun with them. Fun over time reconnects what has been disconnected. Therapists have long known a secret that parents and leaders should learn. Playing with kids breaks down walls. When something has broken a relationship with a child, fun can become a bridge to rebuild your trust with each other. You know something else? Fun over time authenticates forgiveness. Remember, it's hard to fake forgiveness with kids, and your son or daughter may not believe you've really forgiven them until you take the initiative to have fun with them again. If you want to build trust, have lasting influence, establish a deeper connection, you have to make fun a priority. Now, what about this one? What about the idea of work over time? You see, something happens in every child's life when they learn to make a contribution, when they learn to help others, when they learn to sacrifice, when they learn to work. If you don't want your kids to grow up with an entitled mindset, it's important to give them work and service to do in appropriate ways at every phase. Work over time equals significance. It's not enough to tell kids they're significant. You have to give them something significant to do. When you take the time to coach them, to help them develop a skill, to encourage them to be responsible, to motivate them to help, it puts something in motion in their life that is connected to their sense of mission and purpose. Everyone needs to know what they do matters. And here's one last idea. Something that a child needs from every parent, and parents should be intentional about doing, and that's giving a kid tribes over time. Kids and teenagers desperately need people who know them, who welcome them, and who forgive them over time. Why? So they can develop a sense of belonging. When you're making history with kids, that means you're actually putting people in their life who have developed history with them. That's why one of the most important things you can do as a parent or guardian in your kid's life is to invite another adult into their world, to widen the circle of their influences. You see, there will actually come a day in their middle school or high school phase when they will care more about what other adults think than what you think. So start building their history with other adults sooner than later. Because when kids do life in the right kind of tribe, it stacks the odds in their favor. When they grow up with a sense that they are known, welcomed, and forgiven over time, it increases their emotional and spiritual health. So these are the 6 things every kid needs at every phase. If you're going to make the right kind of history happen in the life of a child or a teenager, then you actually have to think in terms of what is it you want to accomplish in the end. That's why we created a guide for every phase, so that every parent or guardian can have a practical way to leverage how these things should show up in the life of a 4-year-old or a 3rd grader or a 10th grader. But just remember, you are making history with the kids in your house, 1 week at a time.